I was allergic to cats for 50 years. Then a cat sat on my lap for 20 minutes and nothing happened. No sneezing, no itching, no reaching for an inhaler. I'd been on antihistamines since the early 90s, and every GP I ever saw told me the same thing. This is just how your immune system works. You manage it, you don't fix it. I'm Neil. I've got 13 years of NHS blood tests and a GP letter that says every marker is now in optimal range. In the next 10 minutes, I'm going to show you why the medical explanation for allergies missed something important and what I changed that made 50 years of daily tablets completely unnecessary. First, why the standard explanation? It's genetic, it's chronic, medication is the answer. It's only half the story. Then, the specific thing I changed in February 2024 that I'd been told had nothing to do with allergies. And then the moment of day 6 of a fast when a neighbour's cat walked over and sat on me, and I just let it. The standard explanation for allergic condition is this: your immune system is wired wrong, probably genetic, almost certainly permanent. When you encounter a trigger, cat, dander, grass pollen, dog hair, your immune system releases histamine. Histamine causes the symptoms. Antihistamines block the histamine, take them daily, manage the trigger, avoid the cat. That's not wrong. That's actually accurate as far as it goes. The histamine mechanism is real. The IgE antibody response to allergens is real. There's genuine research behind all of it. My GP wasn't guessing when she renewed that prescription. She was following the evidence as it's understood. The bit that got missed, and Tim Spector at King's College London has pointed this out, is that allergy diagnosis and lifelong management framing can be imprecise. A large study of thousands of self-reported allergy sufferers found that when properly tested, a significant number weren't truly allergic in the way they'd been told. The immune response is real. But the idea that it's fixed, permanent, and only manageable with medication, that's an assumption built into the diagnosis, not a proven biological fact. I believed it for 50 years. I'd been on Cetirizine since the 1990s. It just renewed automatically. I never questioned it. The prescription appeared, I filled it, I didn't go near cats. That was the deal. What nobody ever asked, what I never thought to ask was, why is my immune system overreacting in the first place? Not what is it reacting to, but why is the reaction itself so out of proportion? 50 years is a long time to have a consistent data set from childhood through to February 2024. So the mid-1970s right through to 5 minutes before I changed anything. The picture was identical. Cats, impossible. I couldn't be in the same room for more than a few minutes without sneezing, eyes streaming, chest tightening. If it went on longer, the inhaler came out. Cetirizine daily without interruption from some point in the early 90s through to early 2024. That's roughly 30 years of daily antihistamine. The prescription renewed automatically. It was just part of the furniture. On statins, on alpurinol for gout, on asthma inhalers, on Cetirizine. These were just the background noise of being me. And here's the thing. The Cetirizine worked as far as it went. While I took it, the symptoms were managed. Not gone. I still couldn't spend hours around cats, but the daily background reaction, the constant low-level histamine load, was suppressed. So the medication did what it said it would do. What it didn't do was change anything underneath. 30 years of Cetirizine and my immune system's relationship with cat dander was exactly the same in 2024 at the start as it had been in 1975. That's the before. 3 decades of pharmacological management. 0 change in underlying immune response. And at no point did anyone, myself included, ask whether the immune overreaction itself might be addressable rather than just suppressed. Boxing Day 2023, that was the turning point. Though not specifically for the allergies. I stood on the scales, looked in the mirror and said out loud, this ends now. What followed was 2 things running at once. I did, over the next 6 weeks, a 17-day water fast and a 10-day water fast that started on Boxing Day 2023. I also, in that period, was eating in a time-restricted eating of 7 hours and 17 hours rest. So quite a tight window. and roughly 90% whole food. And within that period, something shifted. Not just weight, which did move, not just energy. Something in how I felt at a cellular level started to change. By late January 2024, I felt better than I had in years. And that's when I made the decision. I'd left my previous GP when I moved in October 2023. I'd been running down and my existing stocks were pretty much depleted by February 2024. I chose not to renew any of them, not just the Cetirizine, all of it. Statins, alpurinol, asthma inhalers, Cetirizine as well. All stopped at the same time with that change in how I was eating as the foundation. I didn't tell my GP, the decision was mine. But I wasn't hiding it from them either. And the plan was simple. I'd go and get some blood tests and watch my markers and restart if anything got worse. The Cetirizine, I want to be straight about this, stopping it wasn't a dramatic moment, wasn't a declaration. I just didn't renew it. And then I waited to see what happened. Over the last 13 years, I've had a lot of blood tests done with all the different medications that I was on. And I publish all of the data from that here. The numbers that my GP flagged, the ones that improved, the ones that confused us both. If that's the kind of thing that you want to follow, please subscribe. That is what this channel does. The first real test wasn't planned. Day 6 of an extended fast, June 2025, so 18 months after this had all started. I was sitting outside, a neighbour's cat walked over. It sat on me, it stayed for 20 minutes, smothered me. Really, it was on my face, my arms, the lot. And I just let it happen. There was no sneezing, no itching, no tightening in the chest, no reaching for any inhaler. And that was the moment that I knew something had actually changed. Not managed, but changed. I had noticed a week earlier when I spent over an hour in Timothy grass, high pollen environment that used to be hay fever territory for me. Itchy eyes, blocked nose, potentially the inhaler, but an hour in Timothy grass and nothing, not a twitch. On day 24, which was the third day of the refeed after a one-day water fast in 2025, Alan, a long-haired dachshund, which is a breed known for triggering reactions, 4 hours, zero asthma, zero allergic symptoms. 4 years before that test, I couldn't be in the same room with that dog for 5 minutes without reaching for the inhaler. And then more recently, which was in October 2025, a friend who has 6 cats, not 1, 6, I was there for 2 hours, nothing, completely fine. A couple of weeks later, I was there for 5 hours, maybe 6 in total. And to be fair, I didn't feel great when I left, and it took about 30 minutes of being out in the clear air to feel completely right again. Not a full reaction. No sneezing, no itching, no Cetirizine, no inhalers. But some awareness that I'd been in a high exposure environment took 30 minutes to clear. I want to be exact about what that means. 20 months without Cetirizine, 0 cat reactions in casual exposure, a 2-hour visit with 6 cats, no problems, 5-6 hour visit, manageable but not invisible. The threshold has changed dramatically. The response hasn't completely disappeared at extreme exposure. That's the honest picture. I'm not going to go and get myself 6 cats. It's not a miracle. But it's raised the floor in my case. Now, it's only one person's data. I want to be clear about that. What these 18 months suggest is that my immune system's overreaction to cat dander was driven at least in significant part by chronic systemic inflammation. When I fixed the inflammation through removing ultra-processed foods, through fasting, through giving my guts the conditions to actually repair, the immune system calmed down. Not completely, not permanently, but substantially. 50 years of daily medication to manage a reaction that with a different food environment and a working fast window largely stopped happening. The mechanism that makes sense of this, chronic insulin resistance and poor gut health, drive systemic inflammation. That inflammation keeps your immune system in a state of constant low-level alert. When something like cat dander arrives, an already agitated immune system overshoots. Fix insulin resistance, fix the gut, and the immune system stops looking for reasons to fire. That doesn't mean everyone with allergies should stop their antihistamines, and it absolutely doesn't mean anyone with a history of anaphylaxis, severe allergic reactions should take anything away from this video. That's a completely different mechanism and a genuine life-threatening situation. Speak to your GP before changing anything. Cetirizine is not a high-risk medication to stop for most people. But the route I took, stopping alongside wholesale dose changes, is a route that makes sense, but it's probably advisable to talk to your GP first. Not stopping the tablets, fixing what might be driving the reaction in the first place. If you haven't got a formal allergy diagnosis, but you've noticed you're reacting to more things than you used to, seasonal symptoms getting worse year on year, new intolerances appearing, feeling more sensitive than you remember being in your 30s, that might be worth paying attention to. Not as a diagnosis, but as a signal. Worsening reactivity can be an early marker of systematic inflammation before it shows up anywhere else. If you're on antihistamines, asthma medication, or any other treatment for allergic conditions, don't stop them based on this video. What I changed first was the food environment and the fasting pattern. The medication question did come later. That's an order that makes sense. Fix the inputs, watch what happens, and then have the conversation with your GP when you've got some data. If you want the practical starting point, what I actually changed first, what to eat, how to structure the eating window, the 14-day rhythm reset guide is a free download and the link is in the description. And please remember, this is educational content only, not medical advice. Never stop or change medication without speaking to your GP first.